So the briefing here for the training is going to introduce us to communication systems, which I've been using since last mission, countermeasures, which I've been using since the beginning, and aspect-seeking missiles, which I've been waiting to be using for a while. TSM units, blah blah blah. Okay, nothing new. So we're back to training. Don't touch the controls until you're told to do so. You'll fail this session if you do not follow instructions carefully. Let's begin with messaging. For a Class A qualification, you'll learn how to call in the support ship to rearm and repair subsystems. Now we'll show you how to give orders to pilots under your command. For our target for the simulation will be Argo class transport. Target the transport using your hostile target control on pressing H. Now you'll call in your reinforcements. Press the C key to bring up the messaging window. Now select reinforcements 4 and select the wing you want to call in. Now there's only one wing, so yeah, so you only have Epsilon wing. So press the 1 key to call in Epsilon. C41. Now these 4 targets warping in are Epsilon wing. Confirm that you still have the transport targeted. Press H. Now have Epsilon wing destroy the transport. Press the C button. Okay. Select 2 to transmit your air orders to a specific wing. Now, I only have one wing to transmit orders to, but I'm going to hit 1 to choose Epsilon wing. Now I have a bunch of orders here. I have destroy my target, disable my target, disarm my target, destroy subsystem, protect my target, going back, protect my target, ignore my target, form on my wing, cover me, engage enemy, and depart. I'm going to set them to destroy my target. Now remember that back in I only had the options for cover me, form on my wing, and destroy target for the other mission. But here I have a lot more options now. So I'm going to order Epsilon wing to destroy transport too. So I'm going to just do the same thing. C211. And they will destroy it. They follow orders pretty well, I think. But sometimes I feel like you have to order them a little too much. Fighter wings are less effective against larger targets. Bombers or vessels with beam turrets are usually required to destroy warships larger than cruiser class. Also note that reinforcements will not always be available, and you will have authorization to issue orders to only the specific wings and ships. Now, hold on a minute. The instructor is telling us this, but why did command says to destroy the Iceni with just a bunch of fighters? The Iceni is larger than the cruiser. I don't know. Maybe they didn't think this one through. Let's order Epsilon wing to depart. Press the communications key to bring up the messaging window. Select 2 for wing and 1 for Epsilon. Finally press 0 for depart. As you gain experience in combat, using the communications interface will become second nature. In fact, I think it is second nature for me. Now it's time to learn about countermeasures. When you launch a countermeasure, you present a new target for pursuing missiles. In theory, the missile should hit the countermeasure instead of ripping a hole through your hull. In fact, this is why I find the Rockeye so ineffective. One countermeasure is enough to get rid of them. You need to use countermeasures to survive in battle, but you'll soon learn that this tactic does not always work. For this exercise, we'll bring in the Leviathan class cruiser. Right there. The cruiser will now launch missiles at you. Press the X key to evade the missiles. Immediately increase your forward velocity to your maximum and you move away from the pursuing missiles. Punch your afterburners to gain the extra burst of speed. A little triangle will appear in the HUD indicating the vector of the missile's approach. Try to keep this indicator on the 3 or 9 o'clock position. When the missile is nearly upon you, launch the countermeasure. Listen to the beeping sound of the missile log to gauge the distance in the missile. The quicker the beeps, the closer the missile. When launching countermeasures, turn your fighter hard in sharp movements. This will also help throw the missile off your trail. This is actually a standard basics for evading missiles in flight sims. If you evade the missile, the indicator will display telling you that you avoided the projectile. In fact, you'll see evaded and blinking right in the middle. The amount of countermeasures you'll see is in the bottom right. Right now you have 10 countermeasures. It says 10 cm. And if I run out of countermeasures, I can just call in the support chip to rearm my countermeasures. It refills my countermeasures too. That's enough for evading missiles. Now let's practice firing. The Herc 2 is marked armed with 2 banks of harpoons right now. Unlike heat seekers like the raw guy, you have to acquire a lock on the target in order for a heat seeker to aspect seeker to track the target. And the aspect seeking missiles can track the target much more accurately, unlike a freaking raw guy. Aspect seekers will track their targets until they detonate. Transfer 3 is now entering. Let's take this opportunity to learn about targeting control. Reticle targeting control that can require the nearest object inside your reticle. Maneuver your fighter so that my ship is headed centered on your HUD. See, watch. If I press Y, the reticle targeting control, bam! I target what's in my reticle. So if there's something in front of you want to target it right away, you just press what the reticle targeting control, default Y. So red indicator moving toward the target, that's the aspect triangle. Once it's moved out of the target, you'll see the lock indicator. This means that your harpoons are locked and ready to fire. That circle's blinking means that it's locked on and you're ready to fire. So I'm gonna fire a harpoon. Bam! The harpoon delivers quite a punch apparently. A round of harpoons can be fired every 3 seconds. Fire another round and note the countdown timer on the weapons gauge. The harpoon is almost useless if fired before a lock has been acquired, which I mentioned before. That's a major distinction between a harpoon and a rock guy. In fact, look at the right side of the screen. When I fired a harpoon, notice that there's a number right next to the missiles, or right next to the name of the harpoon. That's the cooldown timer, basically, showing how long I have to wait before firing another round of harpoons. So you can't really just spam it like you can with Tempest or rock guys. Well, rock guys have a 1 second delay too. So now we get to fight moving targets now. So in order to gain aspect lock on a moving target, you must keep the target's lockbox in a fixed position inside their HUD reticle. So bring in fighter drones. Fire a harpoon, destroy the drone. These drones will not be using countermeasures. Boom! All aspect seekers function this way, from the Hornet missile to the Helios torpedo. In general, the larger and more powerful the warhead, the longer it will take to acquire lock and the countdown between volleys. Face a real challenge. Multiple wings will appear simultaneously. Destroy them all. Alright! Time to rock. I believe the harpoons are also affected by momentum, so the faster you're going, like with the full burners, you'll do more damage with them. This concludes TSM 107M. Engage a subspace drive. And that's it for training. This is actually a very crucial training exercise because it tells you about the aspect seeking missiles and communications, which are and countermeasures, all of which are critical to survival in the later on in the game. So, with that mentioned, I'm going to cut this here, and I'm going to see you next time when the fun begins.